Howdy, folks. I'm Anti-Cat Brian.
I'm Sparkle Cat Amber.
Sparkle Cat.
I'm Sparkling. This was the last minute. I was actually a undead girl earlier today, but it was kind of gory and we had to go places, so the makeup came off. So now I'm a Sparkle Cat.
And here's some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for embarrassing my wife by taking our son from her in front of her family?" And there's some controlling behavior in this one. So the title sounds a little weird. So I, a 30-year-old male, have a 5-year-old with my wife of 6 years, Chloe, a 28-year-old female. Never had a big issue between us. Truly my best friend and someone until recently I trusted fully. So I do not have a relationship with my mom, and I haven't since I was 15. Without going into the details, my mom broke up the family to marry some dude. I told her when I was 15 that if she chooses this road, then there is no coming back. She was making a selfish decision and needed to think about it. She chose to stay with the dude and to move in with him. I haven't seen her since. I told her the last time we spoke, my 18th birthday, that my kid will never know her, and that is my wish. She broke up with the dude a few years ago and tried getting in contact with me. When I blocked her, she tried my wife, who I informed of the situation. She agreed that she would never contact my mom, which was hard for my wife to accept because she didn't have her mom anymore. My wife was pushy at first about me opening up to reconcile, but when she learned that I wasn't budging, she learned to accept it. So this weekend, I'm fixing up the Ring doorbell that we have and finally learn how to see the old footage. That's when I see my mom on camera. I go back a few months and I see her more and more. During work, she was stopping by for hours at a time. My wife on camera letting her in. I texted my wife asking why she let my mom see our son. No response. Hours go by, nothing back. I knew that they were at a family thing, so I printed a picture of the videos, wrote a letter that stated how upset that I was, and laid out my plans to go stay at my dad's with our son till I knew I could trust her again. Then I drove to the party, I walked into the backyard, I said hello to everyone, I made sure no one could tell that I was mad, but I grabbed my son. I walked up to my wife, handed her the letter, told her to check her phone and to read her letter privately. I told my son that we had to leave. I quietly packed up his stuff and headed to the car. My wife read the letter in this time and ran over to me asking if we could talk. I said that it wasn't the time or place, nor was it the time or place to hand a letter off, that she could call once I got to my dad's. She then caused a scene, crying and begging to talk. I didn't want a scene, so I left.
I did this in the most dramatic way possible, but I didn't want a scene.
Yeah, I know. She did. I tried making it as low-key as possible. No, you didn't. She chose not to answer her phone. She chose to read the letter in front of everyone when I said not to. And then she's the one who cried and begged for a ride home. She embarrassed herself with her actions. I've been staying at my dad's since Saturday, and we plan on coming home sometime this weekend, but I don't think I need to apologize, but I'm still being called the jerk. Am I the jerk? Alright. So this is the first pass here. There are a couple of comments. We'll read those first. Alright, so here's a couple of comments. Not the jerk though. I think you could have handled this a different way. I can easily see how the situation got where it did. I guess my question for you is, in the time being at your dad's, what resolve have you both come to in regards to this? And OP replies, "She is going to couples therapy with me. She is not allowed to go anywhere with our son alone without sharing her location with me. I get that this sounds controlling, but I simply don't trust her at this point. She is also going to block my mother on everything. I will be filing against my mom. If I suspect anything, I am allowed free access to her phone. None of this is ideal, but it is kind of where we're starting to build up trust again." Yeah, you don't actually get to immediately strip her of her rights as a parent, unless it's a court-ordered supervision. She gets alone time with her son if she wants. You sound controlling and abusive here. I definitely don't think that she's in the right with how she betrayed you, but the way you speak about both your son and your wife is uncomfortable at best. I hope you are actually going to individual therapy here because your behavior isn't okay. You're the jerk." And OP replies, "Where did I say that I was planning on stripping of her rights as a parent? Lol, I said that she would need to share her location with me whenever she had our son alone. But I was calm and she was making a scene. Please, if my husband walked into a family party, handed me a letter, and then grabbed our kid and left, you can bet your butt that there would be some drama. It's the most transparent attempt at exploding drama while trying to retain the 'but I was so calm' moral high ground that I've seen in a while. You have absolutely no right to take your child away from his mother because you got your feelings hurt. Learn to communicate like an adult instead of perpetuating this insane cycle of cutting mothers out of your life because you can't get over your hurt feelings like a big boy. You're the jerk. Give your child back to your wife." And OP replies, "Congrats on the most sexist comment on here. Wowza. Unfortunately, you aren't the first woman that I've had get mad at me for setting boundaries with toxic mothers. I'll truly pray for you. You're gonna need it." Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
I'm gonna go with jerk. Originally, I was gonna say that everyone stinks a little bit, and I still think there are issues with the wife's actions. But after reading about his plan to, basically control and monitor his wife, I have to say that he's a way bigger jerk.
Yeah.
First of all, he's completely lying about not wanting to cause drama. Like,
Yeah,
he could have just waited for her to come home. The son was in no danger. And again, like, yes, his wife should not have brought his mom into the son's life without, OP's consent. But it doesn't sound like she was posing a danger. And like, this type of behavior, like I'm taking the kid and running, there's a clear and present danger type of situation.
Yeah, there was no danger here. And I want to stress that as much as possible. The wife betrayed him. Like, that's a gross betrayal of him. But there was no danger to the child. And so him coming in, taking the child, I think is actually not good, right? And certainly there were times and places to have discussions like this, but there needs to be a court order here,
Right, well, and it sounds like he feels like the son is his more than his wife's,
Yeah.
and that kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, I have ultimate say over what happens with our kid, and like to the point where I can control what another person is doing.
Yeah.
And it's just very troubling.
And the whole tracking her while she's out with other people. I know he says this isn't ideal, but like he doesn't seem that choked up about it, right? He's not being a good person. And I mean, I certainly understand his hurt and his betrayal here, and I do, but there were a lot of different ways he could have approached this. He could have waited for his wife to get home, had an adult conversation with her, and said, "Look, you really violated my boundaries, you violated my trust. I'm gonna go spend some time with my dad," right? And as for how the child's going to be distributed between the two of them, OP doesn't have the right to take exclusive access to the child, right? And that's what he's doing. And I think that really is a in poor taste move. So, yeah. And again, his whole excuse that, "Oh, I did this as calmly as possible," I just think is nonsense. Like, if somebody handed me a note in the middle of a place and it's like, "Don't read this," and I'm taking the child with me, I would be freaking out.
Yeah, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So,
that's my thoughts on that one. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for going to a family wedding my brother wasn't invited to?" I'm 4 years older than my brother Mark. I never got myself into trouble and was always a great student. I graduated and found myself a great job, a loving wife, and all I've ever dreamed of. Mark is doing good, all things considered, but he sure went a long way to get there. When he got to high school, he was constantly hanging out with the wrong crowd and got himself into trouble very often. He barely graduated, and after his life went off the deep end, he flunked college, only got himself a dead-end job, and got by with mine and my mother's help. He also got himself into illicit substances, though I don't know how bad. Still, all things considered, he was always a very good person, honest, and he never made excuses for himself. He was just lazy and had no direction in life. During this time, he was our extended family's black sheep, specifically from our mother's side. Our Aunt Mary, specifically, Mary is very cool, but does act a bit pretentious. Her kids worshipped Mark, and when the stories about his life started getting around, half of them were lies, she started putting some distance, but would talk to Mark the same as me when we did meet. Eventually, Mark turned his life around. I don't know what happened, but I know it was really bad. Long story short, he got himself clean. 1 year after that, he was unrecognizable. He was happy, extroverted, and pretty much left his old life behind. After 8 years, he was engaged, with a job and a future. Our family knows of this, and they're happy for him. Unfortunately, Mary never abandoned her old views. She occasionally puts him down because she never went to college and doesn't respect his job. Every time I visit, she likes to show me off as her lawyer nephew, but she never invites him over or mentions him. As far as her friends know, my mother only has one son. Mark knows this, and it hurts him. 2 years ago, Mary's daughter got married, and they planned this huge wedding. Both me, my wife, and my mother got invited, but not Mark. We didn't know how to handle this. We asked Mary's daughter why Mark was left out, and she admitted that her mother didn't want him there because it would make them look bad. We decided to go without telling him, so he wouldn't be hurt. He was never aware that Mary's daughter was getting married. Of course, he eventually found out when he saw pictures on social media. He was absolutely crushed. He confronted us and said that if we were family, we should have refused to go without him. I disagreed. We fought and he went no contact. To this day, my mother feels guilty about it. This was 2 years ago. A couple weeks ago, my mother found out that Mark just had a kid and introduced it to our uncles. She was very hurt since she never knew his partner was pregnant. She asked him why he didn't tell us about the child, and his answer was, "I love my son and I always will be there for him no matter what. I will not expose him to a family that feels ashamed of him and turn him into a pariah because of some stupid choices." Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
The jerk. OP's brother was in a bad situation, and there was no reason not to invite him. Like I mean, you should invite family even if they're still in a bad situation, but he'd gotten himself out of that bad situation. It doesn't sound like he was at a threat of causing active scene at the wedding or anything like that.
Well, and at this time he was actually had his life turned around.
That's what I was saying. So. It's so it was just prejudice
at that point in time.
Yeah.
I do understand, if they hadn't invited him because he was a danger, if there had been some kind of potential issue with him causing harm to himself or other people, why that might have been a iffy thing to invite him then. But I think that in this particular situation, it was certainly not called for and actually really in poor taste.
And so if someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not inviting X because he would make us look bad," that's the point where you say, "Okay, well then I'm not gonna go to the wedding either." You really do stick together. There was no reason to just be like, "Oh, we're gonna hide this," and especially in the age of social media, how did they expect this would work out?
Exactly. How did you think that was going to work out? At one point, it has to come out eventually, right? Lies are hard enough to hide, but something like this is a pretty big thing to hide. So, yeah, I just don't think that. I think the brother has every right to be upset and hurt. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have tea, and I even guessed it right today.
I have tea also, and I guessed it right because I made it myself. And it's always mint.
I'll give you a licorice spice one of these days. So do you have any jokes for us?
What do you get when you cross an experimental creation with a ball of goo?
Bubblegum.
Franken-Slime's monster.
Oh. Franken-Slime's monster. There you have it for here. You've heard it here first, folks. And I have Mega Mint tea. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much to Amber for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you all had a great video, a great week. Today, happy Friday, Junior.
Happy Friday, Junior.
We're winding down, and hopefully you're all having a great week so far. I know I've said that before, but I really hope you have a great week.
And looking forward to the live stream tomorrow.
Yeah, and looking forward to the live stream tomorrow. I forgot that tomorrow is Friday for you. So it'll be fun. Hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.